Michelle on Dripping Springs, hosted by me, Michelle Lewis, and Steve Mallett, former bicycle shop owner and reptile handler turned real estate broker extraordinaire.
Ooh,
that was a lot.
All of that is true.
It was a mouthful.
Yeah, and Michelle Lewis, whose favorite car is a Mercedes G-Wagon, the favorite car of Russian mob bosses and washed-up rappers.
Todd makes fun of me and says that it's the car he learned how to drive draw when he was 6 years old.
It literally is.
He says it's the ugliest
two
car.
boxes piled on top of each other.
Maybe that's why I like it. I don't know.
You know, I saw one the other day for sale. It was $263,000.
Write a check, Mallett. Write a check. Yeah. Mallett and Michelle G-Wagon.
Yeah.
I'll advertise.
Hey, what'd you do this weekend?
Oh, Steve, my daughter drugged me to the Domain.
Oh, bless you.
And I did not really have so many people brunch in Austin.
That's the thing to do.
What is up with the brunching? Like,
I don't know.
I'm not a big breakfast person anyways. I like, you know me, I'll eat pork rinds and almonds. Some onion rings.
Little ramen.
Yeah, a little ramen. But I learned something dreadful about my daughter-in-law or my daughter's new in-laws.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, she's marrying into a family of runners and cyclists.
Oh.
Yeah.
Welcome to the fold.
I hope they don't expect us to run like some Christmas morning or something like that.
That's funny because our guest today, she's a really interesting woman. She is a runner who puts on running races specifically for women.
Well,
Richelle Criswell from Happy Treading.
I'm going to let Kendall's future mother-in-law, Heidi, know that. We were trying to plan Kendall's bridal shower, and every date I picked, I was confirming with Heidi, and it conflicted with some race pickup times.
Packet pickup, yeah.
But she's doing this 100-mile Tour de France-like race, and she said...
Oh, that's in San Antonio.
Yes. And she said, hey, would you like to join me? And I said, is someone chasing me?
Yeah.
And I think it went over her head, and she goes, yeah, people behind you, just don't be last. And I said, well, is there something worse than last? Because that's me, dead, not like dead last, just dead. So,
there used to be the race out in Dripping Springs. Actually, it was the Live Strong Challenge. And the last guy has 2 cars behind him with lights on it. And I saw the guy, he was coming down Mount Gainer on his bicycle, just going like 5 or 6 miles an hour. And he had a constable and an ambulance behind him with their lights going. And I was like, oh, I feel so bad for that guy.
That's me. That would
be you. Yeah. Except you'd probably just pull over and go, just give me a ride. I'm done.
Is there a wagon that someone can push me in? Like the stroller?
Well, I'm looking forward to talking to Richelle because, we have running in common and you'll probably just sit there and make fun of us, but I'm really looking forward to talking to her.
I am too. I want to know, or I want you to tell other people about what you did this weekend because that was so cool. You sent me a little video.
I wish I could have sent more or taken more pictures. Actually, I got invited to go out to COTA, the Circuit of the Americas racetrack, and be a flagger for the sports.
A whatter?
A flagger.
A flagger.
Not a frogger, a flagger. At the Sports Car Club of America race weekend, SCCA race weekend. And so I went out there yesterday and got paired up with 2 guys, Jim and Evo, shout out to them. Really had a great time with those 2 guys. And they trained me how to be a flagger. And there's 20 corners at COTA that all have flaggers, and they have either 2 or 3 flaggers there. And that,
How many times did you just say the word flagger?
Yeah.
I'm going to take a shot.
Yeah.
Say it.
Anyway, they taught me how to do the yellow flag, the blue flag. The yellow flag is if there's a caution, meaning something you have to watch out for. The blue flag is if there's passing. Somebody needs to get out of the way so somebody can pass. There's black flag if somebody has something on their car that's broken and they need to go in the pits. But I had so much fun. I was there 12 hours. There was 7 races. There's qualifying in the morning and got to hang out. It was a beautiful day at COTA and got trained by those guys. Of course, they want me to come back now and do Formula One with them. But
I think that is just so incredible because you just love that fast car crap.
I love it. It was so fun.
And making fun of my G-Wagon. I don't have a G-Wagon, but making fun of it.
You can always hope. You can always dream.
But I think that's really cool. I hope you get to go back and
I would love to go back.
Get to do Circuit of the Americas, and one time you got tickets first Circuit of
I
the Americas,
did, yeah,
right?
yeah. Going back to yesterday, I was so close to the cars. One of the cars broke down right in front of us, and I was so close that I tossed a water bottle through the guy's car. I mean, that's how close I was to the
And
cars.
I will never wash this hand again.
Yeah, right. But it was so fun to be right there. But yeah, I won tickets to a Formula One race. I think it was 2018 or 19, but it was some Wall Street Journal thing. Go ahead, make fun of me.
Well, no, because I was the benefit of, because you said
Was
you
it
didn't
Taylor Swift?
No,
Who
it
was
was Justin Timberlake.
Oh, that's right.
And I got to go.
So you got the music tickets.
Yes.
But I had forgotten about it. I had sent in for this online thing with the Wall Street Journal that you could get free tickets to the Formula One. I was like, I won't win, but I put my name in there. And like 2 weeks before, they said, hey, you won tickets. And so I was kind of like, okay, well, I guess I'll drive out there to Will Call and
I know
see.
what you were like, scam. It's a total scam.
That's kind of what I was thinking, yeah. Like, no, there's no way they're giving me tickets.
This is a scam.
Yeah, so I walk up to the will call and I tell the lady my name. She goes, oh, Mr. Mallett, hang on. She goes and she gets this big old packet and she sticks it through the window and she goes, have a great time. And I walked away and I kind of hid around the corner and I looked in there and there was 2 wristbands for all weekend, which included parking, the concert that you went to, practice, qualifying, and racing on Sunday, and seats in the grandstand looking down on the start-finish line. And I looked them up, and those tickets were $1,300 a piece.
Wow. Didn't you get to drive there one time too?
I've driven there a couple times. But while my friend Chuck and I were sitting in those stands, we were constantly looking over our shoulder like there's got to be something wrong here. There's no way we just won $2,600 worth of Formula One tickets. I know, but we were there all weekend. But,
you fraud.
Yeah, I've driven on that track a couple times with Longhorn Racing you can go out there and drive a Ferrari, McLaren, Corvette.
A G-Wagon.
I probably can drive a G-Wagon right off the track. I've driven Porsches out there. It's so much fun.
Well, that's a lot of fun. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. Hey, you asked me you wanted to talk about Nutty Brown.
I did. I was a little sad when it closed because I have enjoyed many a concert there. And I just kind of wanted to touch base a little bit on the history of it. When I was researching, I discovered that I guess the building opened around 1950, and it was called Nutty Brown Mills, and it was a specialty flour and candy store. But it has also been a car dealership, a Western clothing store, barbershop. It was slated also one time to be a zoo. I don't know if you know that.
I did not know
They have
that.
24 acres, I guess, around it. But it was known for its famous pecan pralines. There was a little pecan pralines. But in 2000, it became the music venue that the majority of people, I guess, what it's really known for is the Nutty Brown Music Venue. And it's hosted such guests as like Cody Johnson, Dwight Yoakam, Joan Jett, MMA fighting, H-Town.
MMA fighting?
Yeah, I
did not know that.
Yeah, my son's orthopedic doctor, his son was an MMA fighter, and we went and watched him play.
I never knew that.
It was super cool. That was super cool. But gosh, like Ice Cube was there. I don't know who Ice Cube is. It's not the one that comes out of the refrigerator.
I know.
It's actual.
Is he a washed up rapper with a G-Wagon?
He probably is, but if I say washed up, he's gonna kick your butt.
Probably true.
But yeah, so now it's closed, and they have moved over to the Round Rock, or I guess it's called the Round Rock Amphitheater. So we lost our local music venue, and I think it's really a loss. And I hope that maybe Dreamland or other places like that pick it up, because I think this area, we're kind of no man's land out here, and with Blanco and Fredericksburg, Texas country music is my gig, and I love it. And I think that we really need a venue to step up.
It's a shame that was Nutty Brown Cafe, when it was first a music venue, was out in the middle of nowhere, and nobody complained about the music. And then as people moved into the area and built around it, then they started complaining about the music, which was kind of sad. I mean, I get it, but it's kind of sad.
Do you remember the cussing parrot that used to be out there?
I do. In the little, my kids
Cheeto?
loved that.
Was his name Cheeto?
I think it was Cheeto. Yeah. Do you remember the Nutty Brown salad?
Yeah.
Best salad in Austin.
Really
I missed that when they closed down.
My kids, 2 of my kids worked there.
Oh,
at
really?
Nutty Brown. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
I think one of the first meals I had in Dripping Springs was at the Nutty Brown
at
Cafe.
Nutty Brown. So it's going to be HEB. Is that?
Yeah. So it is supposed to be an HEB. The last I could find about announcements for that were from March last year when HEB submitted their plans to the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation for a store there. And the plan that they submitted is for a 105,600 square foot store, which, to give you a comparison, that new store in Oak Hill, the one at 1826 and 290, is 90,000 square feet. So it's quite a bit bigger. What is that, 10 or 15% bigger than the...
It's not going to be like a super HEB or HEB Plus.
They didn't call it that, but it's going to be a big store. Now, the plans might have changed since then, but that's what they had on the books when they... and it's not in the queue to be constructed yet with HEB. But did you know HEB has 33 stores in Austin?
Really?
Yep.
I'm those of you that don't know, HEB is the stuff, right? Like
if you're just moving here or you're thinking about moving here to Austin, you gotta figure out
absolutely.
HEB.
But I
It's
always
the
grew up with
place.
HEB. I never have known a life without HEB. Growing up down in the Rio Grande Valley, not the valley, not like, San Fernando Valley. Like when you say the valley here in Texas, it's the Rio Grande
We know
Valley.
what you mean.
Well, a lot of people don't. When I say the valley, like, oh, California. But yeah, and then I went to high school in Corpus, and that's where HEB started. Or Mr. Butt lived on Ocean Drive.
Yeah.
But,
It's so great. There's nothing else that compares to HEB.
no, not at all. Not at all. But so
the store is going to be built on it. That's 65 acres is where Nutty Brown is now. And I guess they're going to take up most of that.
did they buy the other stuff next door to it? Like the shoe? Did they buy the other stuff next to it?
The shoe thing was all part of that property.
Because I thought I read it was 24 acres. So I guess, that's a lot of...
It's 65 acres.
There was a goat farm or something behind it. So I wonder if that's where they would have overflow parking for Nutty Brown.
I think, it went down the hill there. But anyway, so 65 acres. The construction price tag for the store is supposed to be just under $26 million, which probably the way things are going will be 40 by the time they break ground on it. But I did find one news article that said they were supposed to break ground sometime in 2022 on that. So we'll see.
I think that this area can handle that. We went to a state of the Dripping Springs not too long ago, and Walt Smith, the county commissioner, and Bill Folds, our mayor, was there. And one of the things that struck out to me, they were talking about the employment growth.
Yep.
So what it was in 2015, it was like 87,000 and some change, and what they're projected for 2045. Now, it sounds like such a long time, but it's like what? How long is that?
23 years.
It's not that far away. 289,000?
So triple in 22 years,
and
23 years.
Something he said just really struck me, and I was like, yeah, I haven't really said it out loud, but you see just as many cars leaving Dripping Springs going into Austin for work, and now you see just as many people coming into DS.
Because I go downtown Austin a couple days during the week to run in the morning, and I'm heading back around 7, and the traffic leaving Austin, driving to Dripping Springs now is just as bad as traffic going into Austin.
Well, one of the things he was talking about was like the new traffic plans and new roads that are coming. What is your take on all of that? Like, how did you ingest all of that?
So there was a couple things that Walt talked about that I thought was really interesting. So in 2020, the population of Hays County was 242,000 people. And by 2045, they're expecting that to be 633,000. Where
Just
the
Hays
heck are
County.
we going to fit? Yeah, where are we going to fit all these people?
At your house, in your backyard.
Yeah, in my backyard, my little tiny backyard. So that was one of the huge things that I took away. Traffic. We're going to have to get on top of this traffic. And I know one of the biggest battles he's fighting or working on is the road that's going to connect from the intersection of 150 and Ranch Road 12 that goes by where the cemetery is, the historic cemetery, around Calaterra, and connect over to 290 further west. That goes through a bunch of big ranch land. And so
you think what that's going to do is alleviate a lot of the Calaterra Howard Ranch Wimberley people that are coming into Austin. They're going to hit that little bypass road.
I do. Well, we're going to have these ring roads that go around Dripping Springs. That's the only way. 12 and 290 is such a constriction point. There's too many cars trying to go through such a small area, especially coming up north on Rancho 12 in the morning. Geez, the traffic's backed up almost to Wimberley, it seems like.
He said something about trout wine, and I would tell my kids when they were driving, I was like, do not get on trout wine. Even though my Google would say trout wine, do not go on trout wine. But I think they were saying by the end of the year, they should have that hill
You know what was
down.
funny is because I often thought about that. I was like, why hasn't that road been shaved down years ago? Because it's so dangerous. And Walt said, all the utilities that service Dripping Springs or anything west of that Troutwine 290 intersection go through that hump. So all those things, there's water lines, there's gas lines, there's not, I don't think there's a sewer line, but there's electric cables and utility cables. They all go underneath that hump. So those are all going to have to be moved.
I'm excited to get the mayor on at some point.
I know.
And, and ask him a lot of these questions about, growth that's going on in Dripping Springs. And,
one of the things that Bill Folds, the mayor, said, which got a lot of people really interested, is that the companies that are coming here to Dripping Springs that have applied for locations, P. Terry's, love P. Terry's, Freebirds, Popeye's Chicken, Panda Express, Sport Clips, and Mighty Fine Burgers.
No Arby's.
Dang it.
When am I going to get an Arby's? When we were supposed to get an Arby's where that Burger King is. I don't have an Arby's yet.
You just need to start a petition.
I need an Arby's.
You need to start a petition.
Yeah, or Pigpen needs to start making sandwiches that taste like Arby's. Okay, Bill, make me a
roast beef.
Make me a roast beef sandwich.
Yeah. One of the other things that Walt talked about was the concentration of veterans. He started talking about Patriots Hall.
Oh, I was,
which I know is near and dear to you.
Yes.
But did you know that the largest concentration of veterans in the entire United States is between San Antonio and Dallas?
When he said that, I was like, wow, that it does make sense given the fact that there's a lot of bases around here.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is the place to live. My kid that's in the military, he wants to get back to Texas like nobody's business.
Yep.
But I think Patriots Hall, I can't wait for that. And what they were talking about, the movie room and the VA benefit coordinator. And
therapeutic horsemanship.
Yeah, the 10 acres of camping and which a lot of places around, I know Bastrop, a lot of places have those kind of spots for VA. There's a place near Canyon Lake, and for right now, I can't remember the name of it, but I think it's $25 a day. If you're a veteran, that you can rent boats and kayaks and do whatever.
It was pretty sobering when Walt said that he's visited so many VFW halls across the country, and he said they're basically just a hall where old men go to drink.
It's 100% true. Even when I was a kid. Did you ever go to VFW when you were a kid, like play bingo or
We did. We had USOs on the bases. That's where we would go.
But your dad never, when you never went to a VFW? I think all of my dance recitals were held at the local VFW.
Well, on the bases where we lived, we would go to like the Officers Club or the Enlisted Men's Club. Oh,
you went to the Officers Club.
Which is, it's just a place where everybody hang out. We had I guess we'd go to the Petty Officers Club, and they had pinball machines. So I was a pinball wizard. But another thing Walt said was Hayes County is the fastest growing county in the entire United States.
In the nation.
Let that settle into your mind.
That's a little scary.
And think about traffic and congestion and things that are happening. So, well, we're going to take a quick little break. And when we come back, Richelle Criswell from Happy Treading is going to join us, and we're going to talk about running.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, you are. See you in a bit.
This show is brought to you in part by the Mallett Integrity Team, serving Dripping Springs, Austin, and the surrounding areas of Central Texas since 2004. When you need the best real estate advice and service, give them a call at 512-829-2062 or email them at mallettintegrityteam.com.
Well, welcome back. We're here with Richelle Criswell from Happy Treading and Happy Trails. I guess they're one and the same.
They are.
You have a women's running group. I was really excited about this one, Richelle, because you and I share a love of running. So tell us about that. Tell us about the women's running group. Why'd you start that?
About 12 years ago, I got a little bent out of shape because I was going to these free run workouts and they were coached, but the coach wasn't really coaching. The coach was doing the workout with the runners, which is fine, but there were a lot of new runners showing up that weren't getting any instruction. And so my heart's towards getting women and just runners in general to run, because people don't like to run. They think it hurts. But you got to have
until they do it a lot.
It hurts really bad.
No, it doesn't.
You just got to have the right person there to help make sure you're doing things right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided, well, there's not a group out there right now. And my friend at the time, Susan, we were spending hours on the Greenbelt every weekend training for crazy long races. And women would always come up to us. Hey, we'd love to trail run, but we don't know where to go. We're afraid to go by ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to find the trailheads. And we don't know who to run with. And so Susan and I decided, well, let's put a group together. And that's how the running group came to fruition. We did an intro to trail running group. The first time we had it, we had almost 30 women sign up.
Wow.
And it was an 8-week program. We met once a week at various trailheads in Austin along the Barton Creek Greenbelt.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just been really fun to see women show up, try something different out of their comfort zone, and all the while they're running, right?
Do you think that women are a little intimidated to show up some of those bigger running groups we have in Austin, like Rogue and Gazelles, and maybe they're brand new, they've never run before, and they feel like they're going to be out of their element? You think that a lot of women are like that?
There's a handful. That's kind of the feedback I got. Women would show up and say, hey, I tried another running group, and they said they were no drop, but we got dropped.
I hear that a lot.
And it's hard. It's one thing to get dropped on the road because you're on the road. You can figure out where you're going. But on the trail, you don't want to get dropped. Yeah. There's a fear factor in there. And
meaning they just leave you.
They get left behind.
I was just going to say, we probably need to explain that to Michelle.
Yeah, let's talk about the non-runner in the group.
Yeah, I went out, my early days of trail running, went out with a group, a local Austin, fairly well-known trail running group, and it was like 12 people, and I was in my 50s, and they were all in their 20s and early 30s, and within like 2 miles, I didn't see a single person, and that was demoralizing. It wasn't fun. I didn't know where they went, and so I could see that be very intimidating.
It was sad, Steve.
It was sad, Steve. They came back and got me eventually, though. So do you find that the women's only helps them with their comfort as far as learning how to be a better trail runner?
It helps from a comfort perspective. They feel like they can show up and be part of a community. And we've had a few different mottos along the way. No runner left behind.
Which you actually stick to.
Yes. And we used to say, you're not lost, you're with us. Because if you're on the trail with somebody else, at least you're not by yourself.
Yeah.
And we just make sure there's always a coach in the vicinity on our run groups to make sure that you never feel like you don't know where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would personally say if Michelle ran, I would only run with women. I would, because I would not want to run into tiny men's running shorts. That's why if I ran, but
with
all
the goods hanging out, huh? Jeez, Michelle. Well, it's true. It's sometimes that you go out to these running groups, it's a little like going to the gym, right? Mm-hmm. There's or some gyms, not all gyms are like that, but there's a little bit of I don't know what the word is, an intimidation factor, I guess.
And I think the other because trail running is becoming more prominent, mainstream, the groups are changing to be able to be more welcoming and accepting. There's groups that now have like a discovery program.
Right.
So if you are brand new, you can at least get your feet wet / dirty, and have somebody help it. So it's the women's group. It almost becomes a social hour, but it's a community, and we just happen to sneak in a run.
So that is what's interesting to me is coming from a non-runner. Tell me the mechanics and the high that you get from running, and that other people, women who've never run before, what are they hoping to, aside from the physical aspect of it, the endorphin levels or the community level? Are there other aspects of it to just the running, to just the...
What draws them to running?
I think it's the community. A lot of the women that show up they're like, I just wanted to get out of the house, especially lately. Everybody's stuck inside, or
Oh,
they're
no
working
kidding,
from remote more often. And we have a few women, they've worked from home their entire life, and this is their outlet. It's the knowing that there's somebody else waiting for you to show up to run with. And for some reason, when you run, you can talk about anything with the person you're running with. And next thing you know, you're sharing your life secrets with the total person you just met. And so you kind of connect on the trail, and there's something about the dirt, the rocks, the sticks, the trees, the air, the fresh air. Yeah. And you're running, and you get those natural endorphins when you run. Even if you're sucking wind for a little bit, you're still getting a workout, but you're just taking it all in.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've been in a bar at 2:00 in the morning, but There's
some endorphins.
I've heard some many life stories with the women in the women's bathroom. But I get it, so I can relate right there.
At least you can remember the conversations that you have on the trail.
You know what? I actually say that all the time. If you're training for some of the longer races, you'll be with somebody for 2 to 3, 4 hours sometimes. There's nothing else you do in life where you are within a couple feet of another person talking for 2 or 3 or 4 hours. So you start to open up some cans that maybe you wouldn't normally do in a regular, like at a bar situation.
I don't know. You've never been in a women's bathroom bar at 2 a.m.
As far as you know.
There's a lot of conversations that happen in the women's bathroom.
Yeah.
Oh, I miss all my best friends.
And you love everybody.
I love everybody. And you hold everybody's hair.
Yes.
So can men run in your group at all?
They cannot. I get that question often.
Yeah.
There's something about the feel of the group that's just women. And we love guys. Guys are great. We support them. But the group itself, we are less likely to turn the workout into a speed workout.
I know, us guys,
Competition.
I've caught myself on some runs, not as much now that I'm older, but where I know I shouldn't be pushing the pace, but it just feels good and I do it anyway. So
it's fun. And I don't just run with women. I have really good guy friends that I run with, and time and place. But for the women that show up and sign up for this group, that's what they're expecting. And it goes a long way. Like, they just feel comfortable, and we have a lot of fun.
I see that you have a 14-year-old daughter, and she's a freshman at Dripping Springs High School. Does she run?
Oh, I wish she ran.
She's my people then.
she has beautiful run form. She ran with me early on. Like, she would go on the Greenbelt with me, and we would go do a Mother's Day trail race together at the Wild Seed Farms in Fredericksburg.
Oh, yeah.
And now she will just just do that race with me.
Well, she is 14. So
she is. So
you could
she
breathe.
May come back
you
around.
could breathe wrong, and
depends on the time of day. If
I've
she
been
likes
there.
running.
I've been there. My daughter's
Me
21 years old now, so she's just starting to like me again. So
Sometimes.
sometimes you get over the hump.
Richelle, what do women need to get started in trail running?
Oh, I tell them all you really need is a pair of running shoes.
Trail shoes.
Trail shoes. You don't even have to have trail shoes if you don't have them. You can just throw your regular running shoes on. I would recommend, though, if your shoes are old and you've been kicking around in them for a while, go buy some new shoes.
So trail shoes, tell the difference between trail shoes, running shoes.
The biggest difference is going to be if you flip the shoe upside down and look at the bottom, the tread. The tread on a trail shoe is going to be knobbier. It's going to have more grip on the bottom because you're not running on just asphalt or sidewalk. And so it gives you more grip when you're running. And then the uppers are usually much more durable because you're going to maybe snag them on roots or rocks. Or stuff.
Or get into water.
A lot of them have a plastic plate in them too. So one of the most painful things you'll ever have is be running down a trail and step on a pointy rock sticking 2 inches up out of the trail on a road shoe. It hurts.
Yeah.
So
You're just giving me another
reason not to run.
Impaled by rocks.
Yeah.
But if you have the right shoes, you'll be fine.
And you can get a good pair of trail shoes for $100, $120. It's not expensive to get into the sport.
You can even find them on sale for $80.
Yeah.
REI is great, or the different websites. And now they have great return policies. So if you do order online and you get them, you don't like them, you can send them back.
Yeah.
So shoes, And if you start running in the summer, you might want to have a hydration system, either a handheld bottle or they make hydration packs. But just to get started, just grab your shoes and head out the door.
So I have your website pulled up right now, and I see a group of women, 9 women or so. Are these the hydration packs that they are wearing on them? They look like kind of like a vest.
They're
almost.
camelbacks or Nathan bags, right?
Yep, they are. Those specifically, we've got an Ultimate Direction. We've got Ultra Spire and Nathan. Kind of, yep, that's what they're all wearing.
I see right here too. It says "No runner left behind."
That's right.
No,
we don't leave you behind.
So those are good things to wear in the summer. Other than that, pair of shorts, singlet, you're good to go. One of the cheapest sports to get started in, really.
To get started, yes. And then I usually I let our women know, we do live in Texas. It's hot. It's sticky. You can just start with whatever shorts and shoes and shirts you have, but you're going to want to stay away from cotton because when you sweat, cotton just gets heavy on you. Mm-hmm. And now you can go to Academy and get great running shirts that are just dry fit. It's the moisture wicking so that as you sweat, it wicks it away and it doesn't just make you feel like your clothes were 10 pounds.
When it's 85 degrees and 90% humidity, you don't want to wear anything cotton.
Well, it sounds like you know a lot about it growing up right outside of San Antonio. Mm-hmm. And is that where you started to run, was when you were younger?
I was in 6th grade. And my older cousin was on the varsity cross country team. And I just thought that sounded like fun.
Oh, yeah.
And so she invited me one summer to go do her training run because she was getting ready for cross country. And it was, I don't know, July. And it was 5:00 in the evening.
147 degrees.
And miserable.
In the shade.
And Lacoste is a bunch of farmland, so there's not a lot of shade. And I remember running. She was running in front of me. Her boyfriend was following on a bike, and I was trailing behind. And we're running down this road that probably used to be just a farm road because there's nothing but cornfields on both sides. Oh. And I just remember it was horrible. I was like, my cheeks were really red. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't carry water at the time. You're in 6th grade.
There's
you don't
one
know
of
any
the
difference.
First lessons for a new runner is to don't run in the afternoon in the summer, right? That's we run. I see you sometimes in Belterra on the trails, and we're running at 5:30. What time do you guys meet over there?
Anywhere between 5:30 and 6:30 before the sun comes up.
So I'm going to tell you something that you don't know about me.
Oh,
I actually ran track in junior high and high school. I did.
Did you run the 100?
I ran the 50-yard dash.
50-yard dash.
But I was really good at it.
Oh,
and
good.
I was really good at it, but it was Corpus. It was humid, and I hated it. And my hair was like the 80s hair, so the longer I ran, the more it just got... And you're right, nobody carried water, so that was probably where I was
You don't need water for 50 meters.
No, just like anywhere you would go.
Yeah.
I did need water, Steve.
Okay.
Yes. Right. and that's that short, quick speed that I don't have. I'm made for the long haul.
Yeah.
But as horrible as that run was, I
did it. You got up.
I can do that.
Again.
I can do it better. And it was fun and I enjoyed it. And the boyfriend that was on the bike, just, are you okay? I'm like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine. Yeah. Just let me suffer. I'll be okay.
So when did you move to Dripping Springs?
I think it's been 5 or 6 years.
Okay. And what brought you here?
We were living in South Austin. And we were getting ready to adopt. We were going to adopt older kids. And so we knew, and that school district, we were in Bowie School District. Mm-hmm. And that at the time was a big high school.
That's where my kids were going to go. We moved out of Shady Hollow.
Yeah. So we wanted to move into Dripping because it's a good school district.
Oh, yeah.
And my husband loves to check out houses. He always goes to open houses. He's great. And he just happened to be driving through Drip. And he stopped in Belterra and there was this house for sale. And he's like, you got to come check it out. And the whole point was when we adopted our kiddos, however many we were going to get, we wanted to make sure we didn't have to move again. So we moved here. We moved into Belterra, married, no kiddos. People were so confused. Like, why would you move here? Like, well, it's for the kids we're going to have. Yeah. And so that's why we moved out here. And we were super close to the elementary school because it's Rooster Springs. It was a half-mile walk.
And how do you feel being out here? Do you love it?
I'm so glad I moved out here. I really am.
Girlfriend, I go back over by Shady Hollow, that traffic in Brody, and I'm like, oh, I can't believe it's like being in another world
Yes.
over there now.
Yep.
You know what a lot of people don't know about Belterra too is it's got a really nice trail system over there.
It does.
Yeah.
And it's crushed granite, but it's also got a nature loop, nature trail.
That you want to avoid after the rain.
Yeah, it's I really thought I can run on muddy trail. It can't be that bad.
Not that trail. That
It's
trail's
bad.
terrible. Yeah.
You spend more time slipping and sliding
Yeah.
than
Your shoes get 4 inches thick with
Yeah.
mud. What do you wish more people knew about running? Like the love of running?
I meet a lot of people who say, I just don't like to run. It hurts.
I hear that.
And I get it. Yes. And I always say,
What do you say?
I say, what I say is come run with me. It'll be more fun.
There you go.
But just try it. You know, people have old knee injuries that they lean on as their barrier to getting out there. And you just got to toss out speed, distance, and just go do it for fun. And grab a friend because things are more fun when you have a friend, and pick a good place to run. People may not want to run on a long, flat street.
Yeah.
I see people running down 290 sometimes, and I just
I
go,
know.
why?
Every time I see that, I
Why
go,
would you
that's
do
like
that?
the worst place in Dripping Springs to run.
I wonder how many points they're worth. Do you ever play points game? Because that's what goes through my head.
Yeah, I'm with you, Richelle.
Yeah.
That I would rather not run than run down 290.
I know you can get in a 12-mile run in Belterra easily without having to hit 290.
Used to do a Belterra run. Used to have the Belterra
I
running
started
group, right?
the Belterra running group about 7 years ago. It's kind of defunct now, but there's still people that meet up from that. And we run over there some Wednesday mornings at 5:15 from the rec center. But yeah, we had a group of like 30 people at one point that would meet over there. But it's a great place to run. I still go over there all the time to run. It's one of my favorite
I will
places.
be on the sidelines handing
You're
water.
a cheerleader.
I'm a cheerleader.
Yeah.
Go. I'll give you a granola bar and a banana and a bottled water.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That's your thing.
And if you're sweaty, don't come near me.
No hugs at the finish line.
No.
So, Richelle, part of Happy Treading is that you have a trail race series. Is it Happy Trails?
It is the Happy Trails race series.
Tell us about that.
It started out with just one race. It was the Happy Trails Ranch Park race. That's in February. And it's a 5K and 10K. And so it grew from just the one in Dripping Springs to now we also have one in Georgetown at Russell Park.
Okay.
And then we also have one in Buda at the YMCA Camp Moody facility.
Okay.
And so all the races are geared towards, I say they're either geared towards beginners or your seasoned runner that just wants to go light it up and run
As fast as they
fast
can.
for a 5K, 10K. Because a couple years, 10 years ago, the shortest distance trail race you could find was maybe a 50K. And so if you're just getting into it, you couldn't find anything.
Yeah.
So 5K, 10K, we have usually about 100, 130 women show up. And it's a well-marked course. We want to make sure you don't have to guess
Don't
where to
get
go.
lost, yep.
It's well-marked. We have volunteers. And then the fun part is because it is a women's-only trail race, the participant shirts are women's cut. They're long sleeve. They're women's cut. They also, when you cross the finish line, we do functional finisher awards. You could get a medal, but what are you going to do with the medal? So we like to do things like pint glasses.
Ah, you brought us one. These are cool.
Yeah.
I love these.
I love these.
We've done pint glasses. We've done zipper pulls. We've done coffee mugs. I try to think, what would I like to have at a race? And that's what I do.
It's funny about the medals because I have so many of those now. And some of them are like we just did 3M, and that medal is beautiful. It's got a little spinning star in it, and it weighs like a pound. But they're all hanging on a little rod I have in my closet that's probably going to fall off the wall any day now. But I would rather have stuff like this that I can use. I'm with you.
Yeah, so we do those. And then the fun part is we have hot pancakes at the finish line.
There you go.
Yeah,
Sign
pancakes.
Michelle up.
I'm done.
And it's a trail race, but it's trail. So that means you can walk if you need to.
Can you put like a fishing pole with a pancake in front of it
I'm sure we can.
as I run towards the pancake?
I'm sure we can put
Whatever
that
it
together.
takes.
So we have pancakes and we have coffee. And this lately we've been going to Summer Moon and getting coffee from them and having it at the finish line. So it's fun. You're going to race, you're going to do a 5K, 10K, and then you're going to get fed and caffeinated at the end.
I love that. Yeah, better than a granola bar at the end.
Yes.
I know you get some men asking you if they can do your women's race. What's the response?
So I really can't turn them away because it is a race.
Yeah.
I just let them know, hey, this is a predominantly female race, and the participant shirts are women's cut, and there are no overall awards for the men. It's just strictly women. If you're okay with that, come on out. You'll just be one or two people, men in a sea of women, which maybe they want to be. I don't know.
Maybe.
But I also say if that makes you feel uncomfortable, you're more than welcome to come volunteer. And you can still be on the trail or go help pick up flags because you can help tear down the course and still be out there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have your races during COVID?
I did. So let's see. The 2020 race was in February. So just before COVID shut down.
Yeah.
So I only had one race at the time. So we got to have our race. And then the next month, the world shut down.
Yeah.
And so then in 2021, the race was supposed to be February 21st. But if y'all remember what happened last year, February 21st.
The freeze.
We were recovering from the freeze.
That's right. Yeah.
And so Ranch Park and I chatted. And I was like, you guys, what's going on at Ranch Park? And I'm like, Richelle, we're trying to clean stuff up. And people were trying to clean their houses up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we rescheduled and we moved it to the first weekend of March. And everybody came out in droves because they just wanted to get out of the house after being cooped up in the freezing temperatures. And it was when stuff started to open up again and they were getting a little bit more lax with COVID protocol.
Yeah.
So fortunately, it didn't really do a number on the races.
For you, a lot of the companies that help us put on races suffered through all that, didn't they? A couple of them almost went out of business.
Yes.
Who do you use for your timing?
I do it myself.
Do you?
I do. I use a registration software called Ultra Sign Up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's mostly trail races use it.
Yeah.
And since it's a smaller race for me, it's 100, 120 women. I have volunteers that help, and it's an app on your iPad. And as you cross the finish line, we punch your number in.
Okay.
So we've been doing that, and it's been working great.
Yeah.
So we were fortunate. And then, we've had Logan with Big Mouth announcing, doing our announcing since we started.
Yeah.
He's kind of like an extra race director at the event because he directs people to where they need to go all morning long.
Yeah,
He's great.
I was bummed when he moved to Boston because now he only comes back for the big races. I saw him at 3M, got to say hi. I sent out an email for you to Run by the Creek email list. And one of the responses I got back to it was from a woman. I forwarded you the email saying, $35. What do you charge for your race?
If you sign up early, it's $45.
Right. She said, that's too expensive for a running race. It should be $25. And my thought was, they do not understand what we have to do to put on a race.
I thought about that, and it was, I would love to just only charge $25 for the race. I think it'd be great, but it's a race. So somebody's going out and they're getting a permit for you to use the property, and that costs money. And you're going to go mark the course, and you're going to buy the equipment, and you have
porta potties.
And race
you've got
insurance.
These beautiful race shirts. You brought us a couple here.
Yes, and race insurance because you're going to have race insurance, and you buy the fun bib numbers because it's what I came to was you're paying for the experience.
That's right.
Not just to do the trail, not just to go run, because you could go run that trail. The Ranch Park Trail is open all the time. People can go out there. They don't realize what a great resource Ranch Park is. The trail's marked because the mountain biking team used it for so long. It's a great resource right here in
You
Dripping
can do
Springs.
like 6+ miles out there without hitting the same trail twice, right?
Yes. Yep. It works out perfect for my race because it's almost exactly a 10K.
Yeah. And
I've found out how to cut it so there's a 5K loop and a 10K loop, so you don't have to do multiple loops for the 10K.
I like running out there because it's so varied. You've got some rocky sections, some sections with roots on them. You've got some water crossings. You've got some open fields with little single tracks in there. It's really varied for such a small area.
And during the spring, the wallflowers are beautiful out there.
Oh, yeah.
And they've done a lot of work on the pond and the birding area. So
it's a great place.
Want to take a little break from running, you can just go hang out by the pond.
Yeah. We're really lucky to have that facility here in Dripping Springs. Do you have any running heroes?
A couple years ago, my daughter had to read a book on people who made a change, or they, were a force to be reckoned with. And it was, oh goodness, what's her name? Schweitzer.
She's a runner.
Catherine Schweitzer. She's a runner.
Marathoner.
She's known really well for, she was the female in the Boston Marathon.
Oh, yeah.
Who the guy tried to pull out.
Look that up, Michelle. Yeah.
So Catherine Schweitzer. And so I encourage my daughter to read that. And we read it together. And I did not realize how much of an influence she had on just making women's running mainstream.
Yeah.
And just all she did. She actually started, there was an Avon's women's race series, and she was behind it. She was, I think in college, her degree was in like communications or writing. She's a great writer.
Yeah.
And so she used that, and she used it well. And because of her, there was the women's marathon in the Olympics.
She took down a lot of barricades to running. We're actually looking at pictures. People don't know this.
That guy doesn't even look like that's taken her down.
Yeah. So I don't know what year that was, but it was like 50 years ago, right? Boston Marathon was a men's only race. She dressed up as a man and went out on the race course. And at some point they discovered, she was born in 1947. I don't know what. 1967, she became the first woman to run the Boston Marathon. When they discovered she was a woman, they actually sent officials out on the track and they tried to tackle her and take her out of the race. How crazy is that?
And her boyfriend at the time was an Olympic something or another, so he was a real strong guy. He pretty much just pushed him out of the way.
Manhandled him. And
she didn't try to sneak in. It was cold. And so she just, the running gear at the time, those were
she was
sweats and sweatshirts.
She was 20 years old.
It's pretty
cool. The guy that attacked her was Jock Simple.
Yes.
He was a race official.
Yeah.
Wow. He physically assaulted and attempted to
They
tear
thought
her.
It was so important to keep women out of running events in 1967. Well, I think back then they would even say things like it would damage your reproductive system and all these crazy things.
They thought your insides would fall out if you ran too much.
Crazy.
They do. My insides will fall out.
Keep telling yourself that. My running hero is Steve Prefontaine, who I know you know, and my favorite quote of his is, "Somebody may beat me, but they're going to have to bleed to do it." I love that. I think about that because when you are doing a race, there's always a point where you go, "Wow, this really hurts," and you've got to push past that. So
one of my favorite stories of just racing. I used to train with the triathlon group in Austin, and we would go do these races at the ski ranch. And one of my teammates, she was a faster swimmer. We were about the same on the bike. But I knew I could run her down.
Yeah.
And so we were running the run portion. And if I would have had an eighth of a mile more, I would have caught her. But the fun part was we got to the finish line and I was like, "Emily, great job. I almost, that was great." And she goes, "Man, I was so scared because you were behind me." I'm like, "Okay, but why was that?" She goes, "I thought you're trying to catch me." And I said, "Well, I was.
Yeah.
It's a race."
Yeah.
We were racing. I'm competitive.
Yeah.
If you're in front of me, there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to try to run you down. But I'll hug you at the finish.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Right up to the finish line. We're competitors.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have a run that you consider your most epic run? It doesn't even have to be a race.
It used to be my first 50-mile trail race was.
Yeah. Where was that? Where'd you do that?
It was at Palo Duro Canyon.
Oh, yeah. I've done that.
And me and my really good running friend, we decided to do our first 50-miler together. And the training for it was great. And just being out there because it's beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
But what I've liked doing as of late is I have a friend who I call her the Pied Piper. She comes up with these ideas and she gets us all excited and we follow her.
Oh.
And we go. And so 2 years ago, we went to Utah and we did our DIY race weekend. And we stayed in a common area so we could get to Bryce, Zion, and Horseshoe Bend. So we did our own trail races.
Oh, wow.
It was like 10 of us. We got together. We even made our own bib numbers. But to me, that was kind of the culmination of all these years of running, is being able to just go and enjoy with your friends.
Yeah.
And we still ran 10, 12 miles every day, but it was fun. It was great.
That sounds like a great time.
Yeah, it was good.
Have you ever wanted to do rim to rim to rim?
I did. I still do.
You should do it.
I think it's a timing issue.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to wait about 4 years because then my daughter will be out of school.
Yeah.
But we were just talking about that 2 days ago.
Were you?
Yes, because we're planning to go do a 5-day through hike in Colorado this summer.
Yeah.
And in that conversation, it was, hey, have you ever thought about doing rim to rim to rim? And
I'll tell you what, Holly and I did it in 2019, early 2019. It was a spiritual thing for me. That is when you go down into the canyon and it's just like you've gone back in time and you're down there all day. You might see some other people. When you go through Phantom Ranch, there's a little bit of civilization there, but when you start heading towards the North Rim, it's like you're living with the cowboys and the Indians. I mean, you're out there in the middle of nowhere. And then, we started off, it was 30 degrees and you got down the canyon, it was 85, and then there was snow on the North Rim. And then you'd have a sandwich and you'd turn around and come back. And then as night fell, all these animals started coming out that are nocturnal. We saw almost stepped on a rattlesnake. We saw scorpions. We saw tarantulas, mice and rats, tons of snakes. It was one of the coolest things I've ever done.
It sounds almost exactly like when I was at the Domain this weekend and I went from shop to shop to shop. Have you ever done shop to shop to shop?
No,
It's a spiritual experience, Steve. You should really. I stepped on gum and
that's
then
terrible. Yeah.
but then you got to refresh yourself at Flower Child because they have great refreshment. It's a good water stop.
Culinary dropout.
It's a great water stop.
I'd like to go back and do rim to rim to rim, but Holly is deathly afraid of heights. And there's some places there where the drop-offs are like, I'm not joking or exaggerating. It's 1,000+ feet drop off the edge of the trail.
That's the one thing I'm very aware of.
Are you afraid of heights?
I respect them, and it's exposure, I guess you call it, like what the drop off is, and so I'm working on it.
Yeah,
it's part of it. How bad do you really want to do it?
That's exactly
and
right. I think that's what it was for Holly too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We were going up the North Rim, and there's a couple places where the trail's 6 feet wide, and it just goes off into nowhere. I dropped a rock, and it didn't hit anything for like 6 seconds. But she was tears rolling down her face, and this guy goes by, "Ma'am, you're doing really good." She goes, "I'm doing the best I can."
Aww.
And then I just kept coaching her along and helping her, and finally, at some point, I got to try something different. So I tried a little tough love. I was like, "Babe, come on. Get your act together. Let's go." And she just started crying. I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry." And that didn't work.
So then she tried to push you off. That's what I was.
She was trying to push me off the trail. But,
I don't know what happened to Steve.
Yeah. So your race is actually coming up.
It is. It's on Sunday, February 20th.
All right. How do people register?
They can go to happytreading.com.
Okay.
And they can navigate to the race link. And there's 3 races in there, the Happy Trails Race Series.
Oh, yeah.
And so they can just pick Happy Trails Ranch Park. And that'll get you to the info page. And there's a little ultra sign up icon that you click on. It says register online now.
I love your logo with the little running shoe with the stirrup on it. That's very cool.
Thank you.
And how many runners do you think you're going to have?
I think this time we're going to have about 100 women.
That's great.
We're pretty close. We are right about 80 women right now. And I remind myself, it's a women's only trail race. It's very niche.
Yeah.
And so I'm always ecstatic when women show up, sign up, and come out and run.
Yeah.
And walk away with a smile.
Yeah. And people can go and spectate and cheer the ladies on and help out and volunteer.
They can.
How do people volunteer?
They can go to the same registration site on Ultra Sign Up. There's a little volunteer button
that
they can click on. And that would usually I have anywhere from 15 to 20 volunteers. And they get donuts in the morning. They get pancakes after.
Michelle, you need to sign up.
I bet you the students too, if you had students sign up, they can get community service hours as well.
Funny you should mention that. I reached out to the high school last week, and I believe a lot of students and their parents got information just this past week on how to sign up. So I think I'm inching up to 15 volunteers.
There you go.
So I'll have some awesome Dripping Springs High School students helping out.
They do good work too. A bunch of them come volunteer for our race, and they do great work. But is there anything else you wanted to tell us about your happy treading or?
Well, happy treading itself has just been, we were joking, it's my side hustle, but really it's my labor of love.
Oh, yeah.
I've been running long enough, and I feel like I've raced all the stuff I really want to race. And it's been really fun just to encourage women to get out and try it. And that's been more fun for me. I take our ladies, we do runcations in the summer, and we've gone to Breckenridge, and it's focused on running, but then you can't run all day. So then we go chill out afterward.
I'll be down for the chilling out.
Yeah. You can come be our chill out coordinator.
That's what I'm going to tell my husband.
Yeah.
I'm going on a runcation.
Did you hear that? Chill out coordinator.
Yes.
That has you written all over
I
it,
can
Michelle.
make titles up for everything. But it's been really fun. I had to take a step back and just look at how many years I've gotten to do this. It's been about 12 years. And it started when I just wanted to see things done differently. And so we did. And it started out as a group called Trailhead Running. And me and my best friend set it up. And the only reason why it changed to Happy Treading is because she moved to Boulder a couple of years ago. And we decided, we built it together. And it's not the same if you're gone. Yeah. And so we closed that chapter. And then I tried to ride off into the sunset. But the girls I was coaching wouldn't let me. And they're like, you have to keep doing this. And they said, this is our community. We need it. And I said, well, y'all can do it. And they're like, no, we need you as the ringleader.
The ringleader.
The ringleader. So I'm like the shenanigans coordinator for our group. And
well, I just say kudos to you and whatever floats your boat, and the fact that you have become a mentor to other women and that they're looking up to you for their passion. And
I think it's very cool, because I think there's a lot of women out there that would never get into the sport of running and find out how much fun it is without people like you.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
I just tell them, if you don't like running, come run with me.
Yeah.
I'll make it a little bit more enjoyable.
Yeah,
I'll always keep talking to you the whole time while you run.
I say the same thing about happy hour.
Happy hour is great too. Speaking of happy hour, our trail group, so we run every Tuesday night at 6:30. But the last Tuesday of every night, we call it hydration happy hour. 3 H's. So we always run from the trailhead by Pint House down there on Lamar and 290. We run that trailhead. And then after we run, we go to Pint House. And that's every month, the last Tuesday of the month. And for some reason, that night workout, everybody shows up.
Michelle, you can go wrap your knee and say, I'm a runner, but I'm injured. I'll just meet you at Pine House. Yeah. Well, Richelle, it's very cool what you're doing. And I hope your race this weekend is a huge success. And Holly and I might come by and say hi and cheer some people on. But thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Talk to you next time.
This show is brought to you in part by the Mallett Integrity Team, serving Dripping Springs, Austin, and the surrounding areas of Central Texas since 2004. When you need the best real estate advice and service, give them a call at 512-829-2062 or email them at mallettintegrityteam.com.
Thanks for listening.
If you have comments or feedback, please email us at malletandmichelle@gmail.com.
Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Mallett and Michelle.
Listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher.
Please follow us and leave a review.
Thanks again for listening.